The following show and its content are the responsibility of the show's producers and participants.
Information related in this program is not meant to substitute medical recommendations. Before starting a treatment program, you should consult your physician.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That's right. Welcome to the Couch Live here on WPSN99.com, the problem-solving network. Here with you where we stream solutions. I am the street-certified dope doctor, Louis Delgado, here with you, along with my co-host, as always, the Dharma Guy Trinity Phillips. There he is.
Hey, what up?
What's happening, brother?
I'm not getting the windy weather today.
The windy weather. It is it's a little brisk and windy.
You
won't say the word brisk?
I won't go there yet.
It's too much for you?
No.
Okay. Well, windy. I'll take windy.
We got a full house today, though.
We got a full house, and we have some guests here with us, so let's introduce our guests. Of course, we have Attorney Matthews Bark, who joined us on the sports show just a few minutes ago. We did the sports show the morning after with Dope and Dharma. And Matthews Bark, attorney at law, is here with us. Hi, Matthews.
Hey, guys.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for
there you are.
Am I here?
There you are.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me back after the last half hour.
He did.
I was afraid you weren't going to let me back.
I think you did fantastic.
After I put Trinity on the spot like that.
I love it.
You got Trinity to come over to the dark side of Milwaukee.
The dark side of Milwaukee.
And you had him agree that Milwaukee's going to beat Golden State.
Whoa.
That's what you said.
I want them to.
Okay.
So that's what I'm picking.
We told you, double jeopardy attached to that decision. You can't go back.
That's right. And, of course, our other guest, Mrs. America, I always say the wrong year. 1998. Renee. How you doing, Renee?
I'm doing great.
Let's see. Speak right in there. Let me make sure I get your level right.
I'm here. You have me.
That's perfect. I love it. Let me get rid of this.
Okay, just ignore the fact that I sound like a man today. I typically do sound a little bit more masculine, but I've got a head cold, something going on.
Is that your man voice?
It's my man voice.
It's 2019. It's all good.
That's right.
You're allowed to do, Renee. You're allowed to do anything you want.
You can identify however you want today.
Sounded like Caitlyn Jenner.
There's a.
Am I?
Often there's a little bit too much testosterone in this room, and it requires just a little bit. So I could see why you would put your man voice on, because when you walk in here, all of a sudden some of that testosterone just bleeds in.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Right.
Okay. Well, I have my jumper on, so I can go either way today.
I like that jumper. I would have never known that.
I didn't know that.
That's what that is.
Called.
This is a jumper. Yeah, this is one piece.
What's the difference between a jumper and a romper?
Oh.
Well, technically none.
Oh.
But this one does all kind. You can keep it high. You can go up the shoulders. You
Whoa.
Can go off. I mean, you can get all kinds of sexy. But it's really cold in here, so it's covering everything right now.
So wait. The reason you're keeping it on is because Trinity keeps it cold in here. Is that what you just said?
That's why.
Wow.
Otherwise,
Way to go, Trinity.
Way to throw me on the bus there, man.
So all the YouTube.
Sorry, everybody.
This would have blown up on YouTube.
We'd have like 1 million likes.
I
had a much sexier version going on.
No. This is just look.
This is cold.
We're all married men, and we all want to stay married. And you're a married woman, so we're all safe. This is a safe space. Yeah. We're all showing our
Trinity, we might need to change seats here. I want to stay married.
Safe space. We're all in our safe space.
We're all good.
Nah, man, I love Renee. Renee, I love the way you joke around. See, you joke like us, which I really love.
Yeah, I grew up with boys. Please, I was a tomboy for forever. I really didn't turn feminine until maybe high school, when I started kind of getting into the girl thing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And then you took it like all the way.
Yeah,
because you can't go more girl than pageants.
Well, that's true. But you know what? I can get down dirty. I got the boots, and I'll get in the mud and four-wheeling. I mean, like I can basically pretty much do anything. I kind of a chameleon.
Do you shoot guns?
Yes, actually, I started really young. My whole family's history is law enforcement. So my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my father, my brother. Right. I mean, so I started shooting at the ranges. You know, they'd have those things where all the police would come together, kind of like a reunion type of thing. And I learned, I think I was 12 when I learned how to shoot. So, and my husband's a big advocate, so we have a million guns in the home and all that
where
kind
you
of
got
stuff.
like Charlie looking, hey, Charlie, shoot that like you shot that boy the other day. No, I was kidding. Skip, go grab it and run with it so we can get a moving target. No, I was kidding.
He's got knives, too, so we've got
awesome.
guns, knives, we got it all.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. All right, so let's get started. So, because today we got an interesting show for you. So I was, Matthews and I were taking a tour of a treatment center before the Couch Live, and Matthew said something that to me was profound because I never put it in those words the way he put it in those words.
Right.
So I'm not going to pretend that I came up with it. And it's a concept that we've all kind of said, thought about, but sometimes when you hear something said a certain way, it just rings differently in the brain. So I immediately stole it. My daughter always says that I say stole it. It stole it, right? But
yes.
I always say stole it. Am I the only one that does that?
You're
Or is that
making up a new word.
Is that a normal?
No, that's
My 8-year-old does it too.
Is that a normal mistake?
I think it's a legal term.
My
I think if you looked it up in Black's Law Dictionary, you would find stole it.
I stole it.
Actually, it might be in the parentheses as for this is the way your client will describe
I stole it.
the crime he's alleged of.
Slang.
Seriously, I've said that all my life. And my oldest daughter looks at me and she goes, "Where were you born? Where were you raised?" She always makes fun of me for saying stole it.
And you said, honey, when you're 21, I'll tell you.
Exactly. Stole.
It could be an Urban Dictionary. I mean, everything's there.
So is that what it is? I
don't know. We could look it up.
Okay.
We could look it up.
So anyway, I stole it. I stole it from Matthew's Bark. And Matthews.
It was a donation. I freely donated it.
So tell us what the concept of today's show is. Then.
All right. So, we can talk about this in several different perspectives. We can talk about it individually.
Right.
We could talk about it between other people. But if we're talking about it through the sense of addiction, alcoholism, and we're talking about a person who's looking for a solution.
Right.
So that person is, if they're under the influence or struggling with addiction, can they really perceive the facts of life as they are, or are they delusional in their observations of what's going on? And so if that person is in such a state, can they come up with a solution by themselves? Because they're not really perceiving the facts as agreed on by everybody else. Right? They're in their own world, and they're seeing what they're seeing, and so they can't come up with a rational solution. So so essentially it's another way of saying you need help. You need someone else to help you perceive things the way they're really going on around you, because your perceptions are off. Right. And then if we talk about it between people, if 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, I'm a lawyer, so what we spend a lot of time doing is developing the facts, right? But we have a judge who's going to tell us what they think the facts are. So as a criminal defense attorney, I go in and I say, Judge, this is the way I see the facts. The prosecutor says this is the way I see the facts. And the judge is going to come down and tell us, well, this is the way I see the facts. And that's the ultimate arbitrator. That's the guy who wins, or the gal that wins.
Right.
And if you take that a little bit further, you go to trial, then the jury, those are your people who are going to tell you
how they perceive
the facts. So I've had the fortune of seeing this in real time and how it affects people's lives, both from the side of the client who's drug addicted or alcohol addicted, and from that, them not being able to see the solution to their problem, and then seeing how it affects in a courtroom when you're actually talking about different people disagreeing on the circumstances. So when I'm talking to a prosecutor and I'm talking about someone's situation, they'll say, well, I don't see the facts that way. Right? So how do we come to a solution if we have a disagreement on the facts? We can't get anywhere.
Right.
But so a way to solve that when you're in conflict with someone else is to, well, what facts can we agree on? Let's start there. What can we agree on? And then and what solutions do we have for the facts that we can agree on, leaving aside the stuff we don't agree on?
Right.
And then if we have that framework, then we can address the things we don't agree on. So, because if I already have a framework there, I might say, well, I don't agree with you on that fact, but I don't need to.
Not yet.
I may never need to, right? Because I may get my solution on what we agree to.
That's true.
I may be able to give up on certain facts because I'm getting the solution
that you wanted.
That want or is going to be productive for the person whose life it's going to affect. So those are different negotiating techniques, different ways to be influential to get people the help they need. Sometimes you think you want something, whether you're a prosecutor or a criminal defense attorney, and you find out, well, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Maybe I should remain open-minded and listen to how this person sees the facts, because it may open a solution that I didn't even think of.
Right.
So, that's
and to a lot of people, when you're trying to get someone some help, it is a negotiation. That's why some people spend thousands of dollars on interventionists and stuff like that, trying to get them, because they're out of all their negotiating tactics. And I think when you said it, if we can't agree on the facts and we can't agree on the solution, it just hit me, because I was like, well, you know what? There's a lot of conflict there. And if you're busy trying to throw too many of your ideas into one action step, for instance, if you're talking to your loved one and you're trying to get them to admit that they're an addict and go get help, which one are you really looking for? I'm just taking those two. Admit that you're an addict. Now, mind you, I'm saying addict or alcoholic, and go get help. Well, they may still not be admitting that they're an addict or alcoholic.
Right.
But what you really want and what you're saying is you want them to go get help. And when I talk to people, now I see why sometimes it's effective, because I don't care whether they admit they're an addict or alcoholic at first.
Sure.
To me, that's not important.
Right.
To me, them saying that they're never going to use again on that early onset, I don't care. All I want them to do is go get in front of some professionals that eventually, I trust the process. In other words, I trust the process. And the process is, first, let's get them off the street. Let's get them to a safe environment. Let's get them away from some of this, not only the use, but some of the influence. So if the families would instead just focus on, I just need you to get to a safe place. Right now, we're not able to have a conversation because it's, we're highly emotional right now. You're very upset. It's not working for you staying right here. So either you're going to resolve, your solution is going to be, well, then I just won't come to the house, or I'll just move out or leave, or let us afford the opportunity for you to stay somewhere else until we can work some of this out.
So you run into people.
That's what I'm hearing.
Well, are you saying that, do you run into people that are in such a state that even though their family's telling them all these things and you're telling them these things,
right,
they don't see it?
Yeah, correct.
They can't see it themselves.
Right. It's very normal for someone to have a drug or alcohol problem to obviously not see it yet. Or if they see it, they're not going to let you know they see it, because then they're losing a battle. They feel like they're losing an argument. So at first you're very protective. Deny. Like, I could have dope in my hand and I was saying, that's not mine. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. So the point is that it's very, they know they don't have a lot of places. They have few choices of where to go. That's why they're still at your house. There's really few opportunities out there. You really don't want to sleep on someone's couch. You want to sleep on that couch, or there may not be a couch.
Are they consciously making that decision, or that's just survival instincts?
I think it's both. Sometimes sometimes the people are consciously making a decision. Sometimes no, they don't know.
I think a lot of time they also have excuses for it, like justifications essentially for the behavior, where we might see it as obvious from our perspective that, okay, addiction is leading this to happen, and they're might no, it's because if such and such showed up late, that's why, they have their own little story, their own justifications for it.
Or if you didn't get up my ass about it, if you just back off, what's wrong with my drinking, or what's wrong with me smoking pot, what's wrong with me doing a little bit of coke every once in a while, what's wrong with me? Look, if you would just shut up about it, then everything would be fine. Sometimes people are arguing because of irrational things, and we get in this irrational argument because there's nothing rational about addiction. There's nothing. If you try to think rationally through this, it's just not going to happen at first, right? At the early onset, or early onset of recovery, that is, late onset of addiction, early onset of recovery. Nobody's speaking rationally. Nobody's thinking rationally. Everybody's in emotions, and so what we try to do in treatment is try to get all the emotions out of it at first. Let's come up with some solutions so we can start figuring it all out. And even though it may be kind of clear to us, because I'm coming into it with no emotion and I'm just kind of just looking at the land, surveying the land, it's not clear to them, and it's not clear to a lot of people right now out there listening, watching, and suffering from this.
Well, I can just shed some light on the parent aspect, of course.
Right.
For those of you watching who don't know me, and I see all my friends on Facebook that are watching that do know us, being a parent and having to face the fact that your child is using. In my daughter's case, she was using heroin, which is probably, other than meth, one of the scariest ones, especially for a parent, to deal with, because of the addictive nature, because of how easily, of course, you can overdose from it, and all these different levels of it. But for us, when we did the intervention, thankfully it was a friend of ours, actually a friend of my daughter's, who messaged her twin and said, listen, this is really bad. Your sister's into something really bad and she needs help. And long story short, we did the intervention, but we went into it without emotion necessarily, meaning we didn't want to be emotional about it and get on her case and go crazy. We basically just did like a little, she came over thinking she was doing crafts with myself and her sister, and it just so happened that I was there, my husband was there, her dad was there, and her sister was there, and we basically just kind of, I think she knew something was up, you know? We kind of just said, hey, we love you, we know that you're in trouble. What can we do? And we went from there. We didn't go at it like, how could you do this? Or, you know, we didn't come as a traditional parent would come in like gung-ho crazy. We basically just said, we love you. We know that you need help, and let us do what we can do.
Right.
And that's how we got that started. And I think a lot of people are afraid to maybe do that with their loved one, with their child, with their sibling, whatever it is. But you have to, because they don't know. Sometimes they're afraid. Like, they want help, but they don't want people to know. You know what I mean? They're so scared. Yeah. They're stuck.
Well, again, I mean, it's a horrifying thing to even learn about yourself, that I've gone so far that I need anyone outside of knowing all of my stories to help me. I mean, because it's like, first of all, I like to do it on my own. I don't need your help. Here's what I need your help with. I need your help buying that car. I need your help paying for my school. I need your help, buying me what I want, or just this house, food. How about, give me some food.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, I know me. It's me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do. I know I went a little too far. I know last night that sucked. I know I scared you last night, but I'm okay now. Yeah. I get it. I learned my lesson last night. And that's why you're always trying to prove that you learned your lesson.
Right. But your best thinking got you into that place.
Your best thinking got you into that place.
And when I see them, they've had the handcuffs on. They've had the silver bracelets on. Right. They've been through the jail. They ate the felonious turkey sandwich.
Mm-hmm. That bologna. Damn bologna.
The bologna sandwich.
Those brownies.
Right? Yeah.
And they're in my office with mom and dad and brother and sister. And, the one thing I always tell the family is, they're not going to listen to you. They're just not. No one wants to take advice from their brother and their sister.
No.
From mom and dad. Especially, if you're over than 18, which I always say 18 to 25 is the most dangerous age. You're old enough to think and make decisions. Most people aren't financially sound and can't take care of themselves yet. So you're thinking you can, but you really don't have the resources to, and you're not able to put that together. So they're all in there with the family. And, just recently I had sisters saying, you're an alcoholic, you're this, you're that, and you need to do. And nobody wants to hear how their sister thinks they destructed their own life.
Right.
No one wants to sit there and take that.
Right.
Right. So they need to hear it from an outside. In my opinion, it's helpful to have an outside source that's got no dog in the fight.
Yep.
To say, well, you're in my office.
Right.
So we know there's a problem, because you wouldn't be here if there wasn't a problem.
Well, there's no "I told you so"s coming from you. No. So there's no past fights that you're worried about losing because I'm going to give up on this one.
Not until they're there for the third time,
or fourth or fifth. Or
but even then, but if they're in there for the third or fourth time, you're not just saving them a little bit of time. Usually, there's a lot on the line, so they're willing to do anything you say after the third or fourth time seeing an attorney, because realistically, you're saying, well, now you're looking at 10 or 15 or 20 or something like that, some big numbers.
They're very motivated at that point.
Oh yeah. I mean,
well, and the judge will tell them that too at that first appearance in the small jail after eating the bad sandwich and taking a shower where 30 people just took a shower before you left their stuff.
What I always found funny was not really funny, but it was hard on my end. So as a treatment professional, by the time you come see me, you already went through the judge, you already went through probation, you're now on probation, you already went through your attorney. They come to me and they go, whatever my fees are, they go, oh my God, it's all about money. I'm like, wait. Up to this point, yes, it's been all about money. Now it's all about, how do I save myself money in the future and how do I save my life? So you already paid probation. You already paid your fines. You already paid your attorney. And I'm sure your attorney, that was a lot more than you're going to pay the counselor. I said the attorneys are riding around in way different cars than your drug and alcohol counselors. All right? There's a whole different...
Well, I'll trade you my student loans. If you want to trade student loans, we could trade those.
Thank you, Mom, for paying for the student loan. She paid for school, but the point is though, at the end of it all, you're so tapped out that you start thinking this whole game is about money, or this whole game is about something that it's not, because you're not thinking straight. If you get arrested,
well, I talk to people about that. I tell people, look, people are afraid to ask for help, right?
Yeah.
And they look at it in a way that they shouldn't need help. They should be able to do everything on their own.
You should.
And I say, well, look, no, you're on your way to celebrity status. You're on the way to becoming a multimillionaire. Whatever your dreams are, you're on your way. But but you can't do it by yourself. You need an entourage. You don't see anybody in Hollywood on their own without an entourage. They've got an accountant.
Right.
They've got a lawyer. I mean, let's look at Tiger Woods. How much help did he get to win the Masters?
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking back surgeons. We're talking probably mental health. He had a DUI. I'm pretty sure he had some alcohol treatment. I think he went to inpatient treatment. That's how you get to the best. You overcome your flaws. You overcome your shortcomings. You don't do it on your own. You stand on the shoulders of giants to become a giant.
That's right.
And I tell young 18-year-olds this and older, and we've seen many of them. I've got one who came to me when he was 16 who's now in law school. You know, and that's what I'm about in the way I handle my business. But it's okay. Everybody needs help. Not all of us need help, and it's okay to.
Well, it's a vulnerability. That's what it is. Is people don't like to be vulnerable because they believe that they're going to be perceived as weak, as incapable. But the strongest thing you can do is ask for help, whether it be an addiction, whether it be just traditional mental health, no matter what it is. That's the strongest thing you can do is say, you know what? I know I don't know everything. And so I know that you have more than I know in this area of expertise. And so that's what I love, that how you basically package that up mentally. It's not about, you know, you're weak and you're broken, because we're all broken. Okay, we all have things that we've gone through in our lives, and some of us have done better than the other coming out of it. But we all need that, and I think everyone needs a freaking coach. I mean, I'm like, Lord, hallelujah. I mean, we all do.
I think there's certain industries that you have trust issues with. It's like fixing your car, right? Like I don't know how to fix a car, so I'm at the mercy of whoever I take it in. I hear sounds. I know there's something wrong with it. I just have difficulty accepting that it's what that mechanic is saying. So when they say you need an entire new transmission, I'm thinking, I just drove in here.
Right.
How long can I go? I'm sure I can still go.
Can I get a second opinion?
Right. Yeah. So if, in other words, if you're still able to drive around, it's hard to hear from a professional that it's about to explode completely. Yeah, well, I'm going to drive it to explode completely.
But I want 500 horsepower.
Right.
You know, I don't want to just trickle in. I want to zoom out.
Right.
I need to get the engine fixed up, the transmission fixed up, so I can go.
Yeah.
You know, and the, you know, going back to what you said about the cost. It's not cost. It's an investment.
Absolutely.
And if you're not willing to invest in yourself, who's going to be willing to invest in you?
That's right.
Well,
and so,
yeah, especially time, because they say, well, I don't have time. Look, time is your biggest investment that you can do. Anybody can throw money at something, but when you throw time at an investment, that's how you become an attorney. That's how you become a doctor. That's all the best positions out there. Even if it's an entrepreneur that never went to school, they invested a lot of time in their education on how to get what they got. Time is a huge investment, and if you're going to invest time, then you're going to get the results. How much time have you invested in getting screwed up? I mean, you just didn't know how to shoot up. You didn't know how to roll a joint. You didn't know how to drink and walk. I mean, we learned how to drink and drive. You know what I mean? The first time I drank and drove, I was very bad at it. Then you felt like an expert.
You got good at it?
I thought I got good at it. You know. Then I thought I got good at walking.
How many times have you heard that?
Yeah. No, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking from their perspective.
I mean, by the time they get to me, they're not saying that anymore.
Yeah. No. But early on, you feel like, wow, I now know how to do it all. It's until the world tells you you're really not as good at it as you thought you were.
Well, you have to think
but in
about
your head, you thought you were an expert.
Of course. Well, you have to think about it. People don't realize how many years did it take them to get to the point where they turn to this as an escape. Right. Because nobody wakes up and says, I want to screw up my life. I want to do heroin or whatever. No. Nobody wakes up that way. They go through traumas. They have mental health issues. I mean, there's so many things that people are suffering and that nobody knows about. They don't get the help that they need. Right. And so instead of kind of like not being able to deal, they use it as a coping mechanism. So what they need to do is invest the time, learn how to have the coping mechanisms. What do I do instead of, grabbing that bottle of wine or beer or whatever it may be? Because everybody has addictions. I don't care who you are. It could be shopping. It could be alcohol. It could be food. It could be sex. It could be anything. We all have ways of not dealing when we're stressed out. But this is, of course, one of the most dangerous ways is, obviously you're risking your life when you're doing these things. So it takes a lot of years to get to that point where you're using. Right. So don't think it's going to turn around the next day. You need to invest the time that you said, invest the effort into recovery, getting your mind where it needs to be. And I think that's the big problem is that you can take your car, no problem. There's no emotional attachment to the car. But when you're looking at yourself, it's hard work. It is very hard. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did a whole year's worth of coaching where I went in thinking I'm going there to be able to help other people. And I realized, man, I got a lot of issues that I have to work through. So it's that realization that, you know what, I got to get myself straight or this is not going to go well. Right.
And then, if we're taking it back to the topic, which is, if we can't agree on the facts, sometimes the only fact you need to agree upon is what you're doing right now. It's just not working. What we're doing as a family, it's just not working.
Yeah.
What we're doing in this relationship, it's just not working. You know, we need to agree that we require a third party, another eyeball, because the way it's going right now, I mean, how do we see it? How do we see it playing out? If it continues the way it is right now, how do we see it playing out? And that's, you know, like motivational interviewing is used a lot in our field now, because you have to kind of paint the picture of what's actually happening rather than just trying to sell somebody. If you don't go do this today, you're going to die. Well, you know what? I didn't die yesterday, so I don't. Me thinking I'm going to die tomorrow is not realistic all the time.
Now you're talking my language. You want to show them the evidence.
Correct.
The why?
Yeah.
The what is the what and what's going wrong. So.
Well, there definitely has to be a motivating factor, and unfortunately, you think some of the experiences that they go through would be enough, and a lot of times they're not. It gives them more courage and more, wherewithal to go to that next level, and that's where they kind of get to the scary point where you kind of step it up, and then of course, overdoses happen and all kinds of stuff. So, it's acknowledging that you have an issue, maybe necessarily not in the beginning, like you said. Which I thought was kind of interesting, because I always felt like you had to recognize that something wasn't right before you'd be willing to correct it. But
right.
I see your point of view, where at that point maybe it doesn't matter. It's just get you somewhere where you can get moving towards your goal.
And just get safe.
Yeah.
We need to get you safe, because like you said, it's scary. I mean,
Right.
your life could end that next injection, that next hit, or I mean, also it's a black market. There's violence out there. People are stealing from each other, and there's no one governing it. So it's
a very shady world, and things that I've learned horrify me, worse than what you see on TV. Imagine what it could be, and then triple it. I mean, just the things that you're going to be a victim, because people take advantage of you when you're not in control of your body and your mind. There's a lot of predators out there, so they'll take advantage of you.
Well, the other thing too is I mean, to go back just a little bit about what we were talking about earlier. You said a lot of them, when they come to see therapists, whatever. Oh, you guys want money. What about the big pink elephant in the room? The drug dealers, that's all they want. Like,
exactly.
It's all about money.
They don't care about you. They don't care if you. The only reason why they care if you die is because they don't want to lose your money. Like it's money with them as well. It didn't seem to bother you then.
It's all about money. Money is never the real motivation. It's just an excuse because you're mad because money becomes an issue. Yeah. When you sober up, all of a sudden money's a big issue. And when you're using it, look, to be honest with you, it costs a lot of money to upkeep. So you're constantly trading money. So your whole mentality is everything is about money. You know what I mean? So by the time they see us, that's all they've been operating on. You want something for what I'm getting. But
the biggest raise they'll ever get is to put down the cocaine, to put down the dope, right?
It's a huge
if you're not right, I mean, how much money are you going to have in your pocket?
Yeah.
I mean, Louis, I don't know how much you charge, but let's say $200 an hour, $500 an hour at Louis' big time, $500 an hour. I mean, how much did you spend on a day on dope, right?
Yeah.
And then you can go out and go to work. Then you can invest it in the stock market or real estate. I mean, what a promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, and what I hear you saying is it's just a miracle, man. Let's see somebody so toxic, so wasted, so delusional to be able to just get somewhere safe is a miracle in itself. Right? Because you can start the process.
Well, that's the first win.
It's amazing.
Yeah, just taking a step back. And I mean, look at the place that we were at today. Just to be in a serene environment like at the place we were earlier today.
That place was amazing.
And just to take a pause. Sometimes, if you have the luxury, what I tell people if they have insurance or something like that, or they have a family that's willing to pay, I said, you have the luxury right now, taking a pause away from your life, which you may never have that luxury again. There's a lot of adults out there that don't have that luxury. You do.
What a gift.
So I say, take advantage of this luxury of being able to take a pause out of your life right now and just take a time out for you. Because listen, if it is all about, if your family's wrong, if everybody else is wrong, and you don't have a problem, we're going to see that you don't have a problem. It's like a surgeon is not going to do surgery on you if they don't see.
That's brilliant.
The problem. So, but let us evaluate. You still go to the surgeon. Let them look at all the tests.
So what you're saying is if you had a chance for the genie in Aladdin to come to you,
right,
and you got to rub the lamp and get 3 wishes of whatever you want in your life,
right.
We're giving you that opportunity right now. We're taking you to a place where you get to direct the rest of your life. So you don't like where you are, you get a restart.
Right.
You get to hit the restart button, and you tell us what you want out of your life, and we're gonna help you. Make that happen.
Regardless. None of us need to put a name on it.
You tell us you want to go back out and use dope, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you go because we can't stop you, right?
I will never be the one that says you have to call yourself anything. You can live your entire life sober without ever calling yourself an addict, alcoholic. I believe that to be true. I didn't used to believe that to be true. I do now believe that to be true. I think what's more important is if we can develop a plan of lifestyle where we're getting that same outcome, I don't care what you say. because I know sometimes what I think I don't necessarily say. You know, because it's so scary for me. I may not be ready to say certain words. I may not be able to think of certain concepts. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm not able to walk those behaviors. I am okay with faking it till you make it because that's how I made it. You know, I proved that could be true.
So we get a restart and we get to go to a place that's got a place where I could drive the golf ball off the tee, watch a 60-inch television and air conditioning. The guy was cooking and the food smelled good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I could say, Mom, I can't talk to you right now. It's no phone time.
It was like a private Ritz-Carlton. You know, like you couldn't book a room. You had to be a male. And
well, it's just obviously the goal is to learn a new way of being, and that's the reality. And I actually tell my friends.
I'm overwhelmed. When you said that, I just got overwhelmed. I mean,
you did
a whole new way.
A whole new way of being, because
that's a lot.
The way that you were got you to the situation you're in, and so you have to learn basically like a butterfly. You got to basically turn to liquid and reform yourself. I mean, it's just it's not easy. And it does take a lot of time, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things, and one of the things that hit us when we went to a family weekend there at Journey Pure in Tennessee is, you know, the amount of time for your brain to recover, 2 to 3 years from all the damage. You know, this isn't an overnight thing, and I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to get out, and I'm going to be fine, and I can drink again, and I can do whatever. No, you can't.
Right.
You have to learn a new way of being. Everything that you did at this point got you here. Your ego, you know, whatever, your issues that you haven't overcome, trauma, whatever it is, this is hard work.
Well, what's the most welcoming thing? What's the most welcoming thing that you experience after a hard winter? After a hard winter?
The spring, you mean the warmth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, after you've just gone through blizzards.
Yes.
After you've gone through a hard winter, what's more welcoming than that springtime? When you start noticing spring is here. That's why we celebrate it. What does everybody do in spring? What do you want to go do? You want to finally get to that beach. You want to finally go hang out outside. You want to have a cookout. You want to do something outside. As much as you like skiing, there gets to a point where it's like you can't even ski.
Right.
You know, I've been kicked off a ski slope.
I don't know. I want to give it a try.
I want
to give that a try. Dude, I'll let you know, and I'll report back.
We were on a mountain. Me and my entire family were on a mountain. We're about to do skiing and all that stuff, and we got hit with a snowstorm that was so bad they kicked everybody off the mountain. Kicked you off the mountain during a snowstorm. Do you know what that means?
That's pretty bad.
That means drive 2 miles an hour, 2 to 5 miles an hour down a mountain.
That means the chairlift was swinging.
That means everyone has to leave now, and it's too late. By the way, by the time they say that, it's too late because, you know, you're stubborn because you're skiers, right? So we had to drive 5 miles an hour all the way it was an hour and a half drive normally. It took us like 4 or 5 hours. It was a horrible drive home, and cars wrecked everywhere, all the way even to the house. And the last bit home is up a hill, up a mountain.
But see, I'm the guy.
All the cars are sliding backwards.
I need an intervention though, because I want to go try that.
Yeah,
I want to be there with that problem. Right.
Nice.
Wait, I think he's associating the storm with the addiction, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
The point is that when you're in a storm, when you're in that snowstorm, the most welcoming thing is finally when the next morning came and you saw the destruction, all the cars wrecked. And everybody's finally moving. I mean, I'm telling you, they were wrecked the entire way home. But we kept driving. There was like 4 or 5 cars of us. I had my kids. I had other people's kids. All my family's driving. So you just imagine us. We're gonna make it home, and we just went like 5 miles an hour home most of the entire way. I'm talking the entire way home.
Right.
And then we had to make it up that mountain, where cars were driving halfway, and then they would start sliding backwards. We said we got to do it.
So that analogy, I'm getting an analogy out of that. So it's like little steps, no matter how scary it may be or what may be happening. It's just taking that little step towards ultimately to safety.
The objective was be home safe. And I think all of us have been in enough snowstorms to know it's not safe parked on the side of the road.
No, it isn't.
It's not. So we knew, we felt capable enough. You know, we're all talking on the phones. We all felt capable enough. We'll just walk it home.
Right.
We're going to walk, but we have to get our kids to safety. And being on the side of the road, because, you know, a big truck can come, any car can come, and you just get slammed.
Avalanche, anything.
And we're going to freeze. We're going to run out of gas. We're going to freeze. So we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how long it was going to last. But the point is that we all knew one thing. It's not safe.
Right.
And let's get to safety. And sometimes that's where you just have to admit that we're not safe right now.
Right.
You know, and like when you see the Matthews, they're not safe from the government at that moment. They're feeling life safe now. Just like when they wake up after an overdose. Once they're in the hospital, they feel safe again. You know, they didn't feel safe last night, but they feel safe again. So a lot of times what they said last night, they're not saying an hour later. They're not saying 5 hours later. What they promise in a jail cell, they're not saying anymore now that they're free in your private office. But when you saw them at jail, what'd they say? Don't they sound differently to you, Matthews, when you go visit them in jail?
Get me out of here.
Right. They'll promise anything while they're in jail.
You don't know how bad it is here.
Right.
Get me. I'll do anything. Get me out of here. Yeah.
And then
I've heard that before.
And then when you see them once they got out, once they see you at your office, and now they're with mom and dad again.
And they had a shower.
How are they talking then?
Oh, don't worry about this. It's not a big deal. You know, I can do this. I'm fine.
Right.
It's gonna be, you know.
Right.
It's really not that big of a deal, Mom.
And that is what this problem does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what any problem does. Whether you're think about any relationship you've ever been in, because this is not just isolated to addiction. This is in relationship issues. This is in interpersonal. These are in business issues. Once the crisis part is kind of over, you tend to feel like, all right, I just want to move on. I just want to forget about it.
Right.
But what happens when you just push it under the rug or just try to forget about it?
Oh, it comes back. It comes back if you don't deal with it. Yeah, and multiples. Yes. Yeah.
So if that's going to happen in regular problems, imagine an actual disease state. Imagine diabetes not being recognized or looked upon or treated. Imagine heart disease not being looked upon, treated, or dealt with. Imagine obesity. Imagine any kind of health issue not being watched, monitored, and treated just because you just don't want to think about it. What happens to that problem?
You know, interestingly, sometimes when people get to me, their lives are wrecked so much that they haven't been to a medical doctor in years.
Right.
I've had people who are potentially alcoholic, also diabetic,
right,
aren't on insulin,
right,
you know, and we have to really get them on when we say a road to recovery, we're not even just talking about drug treatment. We're talking about getting to a medical doctor, getting your blood sugar in check, getting your blood pressure in check. And
a good program does all that.
Well, that's your entourage.
Yeah, when you come in,
that's your entourage.
You get medically cleared. We have to find out what's going on with you medically.
Yeah.
You know, you might have all kinds of things. You know how many people...
You're out there ripping and running for years.
Right.
Or the last place you might go to the doctor, but he's usually called the pain management doctor. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing he's giving you exactly what you wanted. He or she is giving you exactly what you want.
Telling you the news you want to hear too, right?
Here's one of the scariest things. If you don't believe that you have a drug or alcohol problem, I just want you to understand one thing right now. At least go get checked out by a medical doctor, even if you don't go get treatment, because Hep C is on the serious rise.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of you out there walking around with Hep C that could really hurt you. You can die from it. Untreated, you will die from it. And if you're not getting it checked out, you can't even start the treatment for Hep C. But the earlier you go in for treatment for Hep C, the better. And it's running rampant because of needles, because of needle sharing, because of needle use, because of drug use, because of so much sharing of anything. So there is health problems, speaking to that point.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but I mean, you're not in a good state of mind anyway, so you're going to try anything. I mean, once you've taken that first hit or whatever it is, you're going to, hey, you want to give me your needle? Sure. I haven't checked your body out. I don't know if you have a disease or not. I mean, you have no ability to make good decisions at that point. So you're going to have sex with the unprotected. You know, the decisions are endless that you can do to harm yourself.
Well, the issue is you do start making good decisions. Like at first, maybe you just use your own needle. Maybe at first you don't have unprotected sex. But
once you're in it,
if you're in withdrawal,
and
you're in pain, and you know the only way out of that pain
is to get more,
is to do that.
Yes.
You're going to do that.
One of the things that's interesting, and I also want to make sure, one of my friends on Facebook, hey Marion, she wants to know some warning signs for parents, because obviously you have a lot of experience in this, so let's talk about this. But what the trick is that it's a huge lie. So the lie is that you do the hit, whatever it is, whether it's weed or it's, you know, dope or heroin or whatever it is. So you're taking it so you can feel good, right?
Right.
So you feel good for a couple hours.
Right.
Then you start to feel like crap.
Right.
And you start to feel like crap, and you feel worse than you felt when you took it, but then your only way out is to take it again.
That's it.
So you get trapped in this massive cycle, this horrific cycle, and it's such a lie. And if people will only know this when they start, they wouldn't do it. You know, you end up worse than you were to begin with.
Right. Yeah, well, the thing that I hear... I'm hearing a lot of it, and actually, this is something that it's like a daily battle at my house, actually, with the kids. Not with the addiction aspect, but the same philosophy is, you know, they focus on the all the times that they do whatever it may be doing that it goes right.
Yeah.
And when I try to explain to them, it's like, look, I don't care about the 1,000 times that it goes right.
Right.
I care about the one time it goes wrong.
Absolutely.
And that's where I've actually had some success, believe it or not, with the kids, trying to get them to look at it from that perspective. Is because, I'm not telling you, because I think that's where we lose people sometimes is like you said about the car thing, whatever, telling you it's going to explode. Well, you're thinking about, I drove here, whatever. So, I'm not telling you it's going to explode when you leave.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it could.
Right.
And that's the thing where
fear tactics.
Not necessarily fear tactics, but just the reality tactics.
Right.
Your problem, the reality is, with drugs and alcohol, like we've said numerous times, you're going to probably like it. When it's probably going to be great. So the problem isn't that you're going to take it and you're going to hate it. And no, the problem is going to be when you take it and you like it. And then it starts to have a more important role in your life, and you start doing more and more things to get it more and more. Yeah. And so I think that's more effective than fear tactics.
That's actually, that, Trinity. My style of prevention, at least with my kids, was you're going to love it. That was my way. Just saying, if you're going to try drugs, you're going to love it. Here's the problem: you're going to find one. You might not like the first drug you try. You might not like the first drink you drink. But eventually, they make so many flavors. They make so many different things. There's so many different drugs that eventually you're going to find one that's going to do exactly what you're looking for. It's going to make you feel stronger if that's what you're looking for. It's going to make you feel more confident if that's what you're looking for. It's going to make you feel sexier if that's what you're looking for. Whatever it is you're looking for. The problem with that is that you're going to then want to do more of it because it's working.
Of course.
But it's not sustainable. Unfortunately, none of those things are meant to be sustainable. They're meant to be temporary because our brain has all those substances naturally. Yeah, so our brain stops making the things that you're bringing in falsely. Therefore, now naturally we're more reduced, and now we need more fake. That's how we become dependent on that substance. And once we become dependent on that stuff, and you keep using it, other stuff that used to make you feel good. Let's say you used to like hanging out with me and going to the movies with me. Well, naturally, as you grow up, you start wanting to do that anyway. Now you throw on top something that's saying get away from this person because this person is trying to keep us away from each other.
Right.
Well, if you're in a relationship with somebody and somebody's telling you don't be in a relationship with that person,
you're going to want to be in the relationship.
Not only are you going to want to be in the relationship, but you're not going to tell the other person that you're in the relationship.
Exactly. Secrecy.
You're going to do secrecy. You're going to hide. And secrets and hiding, and now you're going to be doing behaviors that match. So think of the worst case scenario is you're going to want to spend less time with your family. Yeah. Being with your family is not going to be a priority. Having that feeling back again that made you feel so good, so worthy, so accomplished, so strong, so smart, you're going to want that more than anything. And that's the problem. Drugs are going to make you want. You're going to love them more than anything, including us, including the higher power that you were raised with, or the faith that you were raised with, the sense of purpose that you currently had. Like, let's say you wanted to be a doctor, you wanted to be an attorney, or what do you want. That's not going to look as important later. All that's going to feel important is what you feel right now, because instant gratification is very, very tempting.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you want to delay anything that you can have right now? And that's what drugs do. They say, you don't have to work for it. Just take it. Yeah. You can have this now. Like that product that I was just on Fox 35 with. Did you guys see that? I did that Jimmy Buffett thing.
I missed it. No.
All right. So the whole advertisement is all about, find your peace now. You deserve it. Go do it. Take control.
I wanted some, man. Just read the ad. I was like, dang.
Well, who doesn't want a holiday? You know what I mean? Oh, crap. You mean I don't have to go to Jamaica to get it? I can just smoke pot and get it? Well, then why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
And that's the marketing. The marketing of drugs is don't worry about what the people that, like your family and the government, they're just trying to keep it from you.
Right. Well, it's smart. I mean, this is a society that we're instant gratification. Everything is. That's
who doesn't
why social
want it?
Media is like that. I mean, everything is about instant gratification, and that's
the
scary
phone
part.
Yeah, the phone, Starbucks,
everything.
Let's take even the stuff that you think is benign. Starbucks. It's all about instant gratification. I don't have to make it in my pot. I hate having to make coffee in my house.
Oh, Starbucks is amazing. Whether you like Starbucks or not, if you drink coffee, you will stop at a Starbucks because where it is, your phone can pay for it.
Yep.
You don't have to get out
of your car.
They're
making it even easier.
It's amazing.
Convenience.
We're not marketing for Starbucks. We might be saying the opposite, but it's just convenient, right? It's instant gratification.
It's instant gratification.
Well, look at Amazon. Hello, how do you think he's made so much money? Hello, you could sit on your couch and become a big blob, and everything is delivered to you.
Right.
It's scary. I mean, in a way, it's good, but you have to, just like anything else, we have to be smart enough to say, look, there are things that I can have that are convenient, and there are things that I just need to do for myself because this gives me self-worth. This, shows that I have capabilities. This, I'm contributing. Whatever it is, we have to be very careful, even if we're not doing drugs.
Renee,
that
can
we don't
I
let
hire
it go.
you to be my life coach?
Absolutely. Hey, that's what I do. Life coaching.
And tell me what I need to do and what I need to do.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I think you just hit up on it. Drugs initially are very convenient.
Yeah.
Because they shut everybody up. In your head, they shut all the noise out. So at first, it's very convenient. You don't have to think about the trauma. You don't have to think about the pains that you're going through. You don't have to think about the disappointments in your life.
Exactly.
For that moment, you're in bliss. But then they become very inconvenient because there's always a down. I don't care how high you go. It's simple science. What goes up comes down.
Yeah.
And then it comes right at you. And I think, again, with the theme of the show, we're saying we can agree on the facts. Right now, how is it feeling?
Right.
How is it all working for you right now? Because all I want to do is try to help you feel better. And if drugs are the way to make you feel better, trust me, I'm going to connect you with physicians. If drugs are what you want, there's no better drugs than the legal ones.
Oh, good Lord.
Because they'll give them to you.
They will.
You'll
Scary.
but that's the pull-in. Let me at least put you around professionals that if they feel you need to be on a stimulant, we have that. If they feel you need to be on something for pain, they have that. If they feel that you need something for anxiety, they have that.
Yes.
You're not a physician. Your self-medication is dangerous.
Yes.
You're too dependent on Bob next door. Listen, if you had a headache, you wouldn't trust Bob next door to make yourself a Tylenol tablet.
No.
If Bob came over and says, "Look, man, I made this thing for headaches. Try this." Would you take it?
Well,
And
that's
if
how
you
my
say
daughter
yes,
got started.
You need to go to treatment right now.
My daughter got started. Well, obviously, she experimented in college and stuff like that, and she's not your typical person you would think could get caught up in it. I mean, she went to college on scholarship. She graduated from college magna cum laude. She was dance and theater, all these things. You would never expect that she was having so much difficulty. When she came out, she was struggling with a lot of anxiety, and she met a boyfriend. He said, "Hey, I've been doing heroin forever. Absolutely. You don't need to worry about anxiety." So self-medication is a huge part of it.
It's the part of it. Let me tell you something. Look, if you're out there and if you've done drugs and you didn't become addicted, if you did alcohol, you didn't become an alcoholic, here's some of the reasons why. Number one, possibly genetic predisposition. Maybe that played in your favor. Number two, maybe you didn't have trauma. I would venture to say, and I know this is radical to hear, but after treating people for over 28 years in my life, I would say the ones that struggle with true addiction issues have trauma. Trauma is the number one contributor to the problem. So if you've had trauma in your life, you're more susceptible. Just understand that, because there's the way your brain packaged that trauma or dealt with that trauma may be that escape, maybe that not thinking about it, maybe that ignoring it. And initially, the best way to ignore something or not deal with something is to be high. The best way to go around the feeling of that trauma is to not be present. Unfortunately, no matter what, your brain is dealing with it. So even if you consciously aren't dealing with it, something inside your brain is. And here's what we know about thoughts, emotions, and emotional problems is they become physical internally. Chinese medicine has taught us a lot about that. In other words, they're able to take an emotional problem and find a part of your body where that emotional pain manifested into a physical pain. The science is so intense that you and I aren't brilliant enough to deal with it. That's why we need to go to other people and be like, you tell me where this emotional trauma is, because I experienced it. I had this emotional stuff happen to me. Where is it manifesting? Just ask the question and let someone tell you, well, let's map out your life and let's find out where it's manifesting. And you just might find out it's manifesting in a place that you thought was comfortable, that you thought was safe, that you thought was the solution. And it's actually not. It's actually where the disease, it's actually where the pain is manifesting. And pain will just manifest into a bigger and greater monster. And that's just the reality of it. So again, sticking to the theme of that, if we have to agree on the facts in order to come to a solution, we have to find what facts can we agree upon. And so a lot of families, I saw that one of your friends was saying, what are the symptoms? It's just you not being you. Look, the simplest systems to think about.
Can I talk to that for a second? Cause
yeah, go for it.
It's amazing. I have parents come to my office and they say, "Oh, they're doing okay. They're doing good. They're doing good in school. They got a C average." I'm thinking that okay, and they were playing basketball, but they quit the team. They're hanging out with new friends. Yeah. They're coming home late. He's losing weight. He's not eating with us anymore. Those are, to me, that's what we should be looking for.
Absolutely. And they're so subtle.
Yeah.
They're so subtle. We didn't see a lot of
it. They kind of creep up, right?
They creep up.
Yes.
Because they were on the basketball team. Their B+ average slowly went down, right? Their friends didn't just change overnight. They were still hanging out a couple of days with this guy, and then It gradually became every day with the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but and as you know, as a parent bringing a child into the world, I realized I'm doing everything I can for the next 18 years to wean myself off of them and to wean them off of me, because they come in. So you have to do everything, right? You have to change the diaper, feed them, every little thing. So as a parent, that's what you are ingrained to do, is to make them do everything for your child, and so you can't even see it until the. And
you think at that point that they're, you know, you figure, oh, they're old enough, they can walk, they can talk, they can do all these things, that they're pretty good. Well, they're not. And, you know, like you said, for us, it's so subtle. And I have many friends, you know, Jackie is a very dear friend of mine. She lost her daughter, Victoria, and they didn't see the signs either. Right. And, you know, in our situation, my daughter was in college, so it was a little bit harder because she was far away. You know, she was thousands of miles away. And when she came back, she was not living with us. She was living with her boyfriend. But there was all the things we talked about, the isolation. There were all these little things that, you know, my husband's a physician, and I'm a very intelligent person as well. And we're looking at each other saying, how did this happen? How did we not see this? And you beat yourself up for a little bit about it because you figure, I should know. But the reality of it is you may not know unless you're super conscious about it.
And even if you are, you might not be able to pinpoint it because
because
it's not. I mean, it doesn't have to be drugs, right? It could be a mental health issue. It could be depression. It could be a bad breakup. I mean, it could be. It could be. I'm not finding my way in life right now.
Well, I think we want to see the best in our friends and family as well.
Oh, of course.
Like, we don't ever want to assume what we feel to be the worst.
Well, I mean, look, it mimics puberty. Let's get real. So when you say what are the signs and symptoms, a lot of the things mimic puberty.
Yeah.
Mimic getting to know yourself. You got to bump your head a little bit. You got to scrape your head a little bit. And unfortunately, as parents, especially if you've bumped and scraped yourself a little bit, you're thinking they just got to go through it. It's just part of growing up. And some of it, you're right. But sometimes we don't have the luxury of being wrong.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
You know what I mean?
And you have to be a little bit of a hover parent, helicopter parent.
I tell family when they say, what should I do about it? I said, anything you feel like you can live with. If the worst case scenario happened, you got to make decisions based on the worst case scenario of what you can live with. I would rather be wrong and overestimate or overkill than under and then go like I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, because once you're in it, it's a bitch. I mean, can I say that?
You can say anything you want.
Internet.
It's internet. Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
it's like Mark Zuckerberg is okay with it
on Facebook. No, the reality is that once you're in it, it's a nightmare.
Right.
Because you're never clear. You know what I mean? That, like, as a parent, I say, okay, when can we take a breath? When can we step back and say, she's good?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. It's been years. It has not happened. You know, it's a cycle. You know, they do really well, and then they slip, and they do really well, and then they slip. I mean, it's a lifelong process.
Yeah.
And there is no, at least, for us, a break.
Here's my hope to you, Renee, and here's my faith. Yes, there is a break.
Eventually, hopefully.
There will. I have faith in that for you. Just like, my family has their kid back and they don't think like that anymore. And, that's not saying that if I don't look too tired, or I don't act a certain way, they're not like, you all right? But again, it comes around.
Yeah.
It comes around. In our last couple minutes, I want to make sure that in our last couple minutes, we have a few minutes left. What is it that you think about the name of the topic again? It's, if you can't agree on the facts, then we can't get to a solution. Final words, Matthews.
Well, thanks for throwing me under the microphone.
You notice I was looking at her and then I went to you?
Yeah, that was very slick.
It was his topic.
That's why I did that.
Yeah. Well,
he was more prepared.
Let me give you these final words, which is you got to find something you can agree on, right? Just it can be one thing. It could be the sky's blue today. Can we agree on anything? Or are you that far in conflict with me as your person to come to you for an intervention, as your attorney, as your parent, that we can't agree on anything? Then I'm not the right person to help you. I might not be the right lawyer for you. I might not be the right therapist for you. But can you agree with me on anything? And then we can start a path down a road to a solution. All right? So, and if you're in that place in your life where you think everything is good and everybody else around you thinks everything's wrong, who's the one that's got a problem?
Right.
Exactly.
Is it everybody else or is it you?
Right.
And if you're in that addiction, you might think it's everybody else and it's not you. And you might need to do a little bit more research. You might need a little bit more consequences. You might need to hit a bigger bottom. But, I think as parents, everybody in this room is a parent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're all praying for each other that our children don't have to go through that.
Amen.
And that we also have parents, and we don't put our parents through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Renee?
I was gonna tail on him, and taking exactly from what you said, it's something that I call the common denominator. So if you're pointing the finger and it's this person and this person and that person and this person, and the story keeps repeating with different faces, you are the common denominator.
Yes.
You are the one with the problem. You are the one that needs to get the help. Like it or not, it's no fun. But on the flip side of it, once you get through it, whether it's addiction or not even addiction, just in general in life, man,
I got an idea.
It's beautiful.
I got an idea. Let's not call it help. Let's call it performance enhancement.
Performance
I like
enhancement.
that.
I like it.
I like performance enhancement.
I like it.
Makes me think I'm about to take steroids, and or that male thing that hopefully I never need.
Hey, that's okay. Don't knock it. It works.
Oh. Well, can I have two? Trinity, final words.
For the last 4 hours, call a doctor.
Exactly.
I mean, so I don't get redundant and repeat all of what they just said, I guess. The other approach I would take is just reading the title here again. Can't agree on the facts. You can't find a solution. I think that don't lose sight that the solution is the end goal. The facts aren't what is important. Who's right wasn't important. Who's wrong wasn't important. Who's fault? None of that really matters. At the end of the day, it's the solution that matters, and that's what you should be working towards.
That's it. And and I'm not going to mimic it either, it will be redundant. I think you guys have said some great things. I think that science is science. At the end of the day, we can all disagree on a lot of things, but here's what I found out, that a lot of humans will not argue the simple science. What goes up does come down. Math is real. Common denominator is a great thing to visualize, because that's math, and math is true. And like Trinity says, at the end of the day, it's the solution that matters. Let's at least get somewhere, because right now, this is no bueno, and it's not working. So, again, while they were speaking, just so you guys know, on the YouTube segment, you can find this on YouTube if you're watching it on Facebook, if you're listening on WPSN99.com. The Couch Live is on YouTube. You go to youtube.com/thecouchlive. You can see this show and other shows. And if you watch the YouTube segment, you'll see how to reach either one of our two guests if you need them for anything, including Matthews Park, best attorney in the Central Florida area. And I would say a little bit extended, but then my brother will get upset because he's an attorney. But Matthews Park, can you give your number real quick? Because if they need you right now, they're going to need it right now. What is it?
407-865-8888. 865-8888.
Right on. So, adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
That was awesome.